Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Expansive CEO Podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Chapman, and today, this is the first episode of 2026. So we have got some new year energy going, and I have got my lovely co-host, Lauren Ammon, here. So we are introducing some new things. We've got a lot of new stuff happening, both with the podcast, with the Expansive CEO podcast, with Expansive CEO as a company. Also from my side with X Squared and Investment Friday, you're going to start hearing about what's happening there. But first things first, Lauren, who you've seen on the podcast, I mean, what, 5, 10, so many times.
Who knows? Yeah.
So many times. She is coming into Expansive CEO as a human design coach, performance coach, transformation coach, like helping you be who you truly are, shed what you're not, be who you are, and co-host of the Expansive CEO podcast. So Lauren, hi.
Hi again.
Hi again.
This is re-high. This is 2026 energy. Hello.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to kick it over to you for a second. What are you excited about?
Oh gosh. So I'm really excited to see what this partnership means, or looks like, transforms into, with this new kind of an intention between the two of us. And I think we've talked about this on the show, is that I wouldn't even be in human design if it weren't for you and introducing it through the lens of financial planning and looking at abundance from a different lens. And it's more than just money. It's, what does money mean to you? How do we shed what money has meant to you if it's not been beneficial to you or productive for you? And it wasn't until you introduced it and was like, here's this, we're going to try this human design thing and look at energy, i.e. money, through what it means for you, Lauren. And then again, being the 1-3, and we'll talk about what all of this means. And we've already talked about what this means before, but with me being a 1-3, I was like, oh, I need to know what all these details are about what human design really means. And what has been so beautiful between the two of us is that we are both generators. I'm a pure generator. You're a manifesting generator. So those two things look and feel very different because of our unique makeup. But it was, I think what makes it most beautiful is it wasn't something we set out to do.
Mm-hmm.
That part wasn't intentional, or how do I say this? The coming of together wasn't intentional when we started going down this path together, but separately 4 years ago. And it wasn't just until the last few months where it's like, wait a minute. We've got two very special gifts here, and we look at them two very different ways. Why aren't we doing this together?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the energy really brings, is that I think for both of us, it was a very calm yes, which I think was, I'll speak for myself, which was a very surprising yes. Only because I have a lot of trouble recognizing my yeses still, my correct yeses. And it wasn't until we just started talking about this where it was a very calm, very light whisper that it was like, yes, do it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So let's give a little more context, even to that so what we're going to be doing with the Expansive CEO podcast, in particular. So we are actually splitting it into two, and you'll hear about this on Fridays as well. So, if you like both, if you listen on Tuesdays, where typically we've had interviews with other business owners and entrepreneurs, and really heart-centered. How do you build business from a heart-centered lens? That has been the focus of the Expansive CEO podcast as a whole, but especially Tuesday episodes. And then Friday episodes have been Investment Friday. And so all about the economy, all about how you make good decisions for you amidst the chaos of what seems to be, right, like a really difficult and scary thing sometimes. Just the economy as a whole, and the stock market and financial education pieces, right? So I have always held that, or I've kept it all in one podcast for the last 4 years now, purposely, because it feels like that's all of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like, I get to be like my full expression in this one container. And what has become clearer and clearer over the last year, especially, is that these different avenues really need their own containers. And so what that does is that allows Investment Friday to be its own container, to be its own YouTube channel, to be its own podcast, so that it can be very clean, separate energy. And so that it leads to Expansive it leads to X Squared, it leads to Juncture Wealth Strategies. Brad will still be the co-host on Investment Fridays. But it will be its own energy. So if you mostly listen to the Friday episodes, make sure, and we're going to remind you over and over, go and find Investment Friday on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube. It'll be everywhere, but it will be its own stream. And then Expansive CEO will just be the Tuesday episodes. We will post every single Tuesday like we have for the last 4 years. And we're going to really, really hone in on human design and gene keys, and how do you build a business and a partnership and a life in alignment with who you truly are, and how do you let go of the BS that's not you, right? Like, that's the real, like, how do we get rid of the shoulds? How do we really hone in on our gifts? And from Lauren, one of the things that I really appreciate that Lauren brings to the table is not shying away from the hard parts of the chart, right? Like, not knowing, there's so many people in the human design space and the gene keys space that just want to look at the gifts, just want to focus on, here's what's amazing about you, here's where your genius is, here's how we make everything easy and flowy. And I will admit that I used some of that language before as well, because it's like, it's what people listen to. Mm-hmm. But we're past that. We're past that now. We don't need to just sell what's rosy and say like everything's going to be easy, because no one's that dumb. We're not, like, right? So it's like the hard parts, the challenging parts, hey, you know what? This might be a little crunchy. That's what people feel. That's what we experience. And that's what we need help re-examining. Mm-hmm. But you have to be willing to recognize the challenges and the crunchiness, and in order to also see the beauty that's there, mm-hmm. that what we are given as our own unique challenges in our lives are typically what we're here to help others grow through in the deepest way. So yeah, Expansive CEO podcast is really going to be very specifically human design and gene keys. That's the other special part, right? Like, Lauren is going to tell us all what she's been doing with human design. I have been doing the gene keys guide certification as well. So I've studied a ton of human design as well, not as deeply as Lauren, but in my own manifesting generator way, which we will go over. And have really, I love the prosperity sequence. I love the gene keys. I love the additional lens that they put onto the information. But I don't use the gene keys without human design. I'll put it that way. So we have this, I really don't think there's much else in this space that really dives into both the way that we're going to do.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of our partnership, is that, and Hannah and I have been very intentional about this too, is I'm a 1-3 peer generator. She's a 6-2 manifesting generator. So we come at life from very different perspectives. Hannah is the role model. She's here to show us what it means to live as herself. I'm the foundation. I lay all of it out so that others can stand on this solid as I can possibly make it, I guess. Foundation is possible to say, yeah, for me, it's a path of discovery. And for Hannah, it's a path of, here, let me just show you. Yes, you've gone through a ton of discovery in that respect. But we were very intentional about that. And we use kind of both ends of that spectrum in our gifts. And I like to believe we bring a great balance of both ends of the hexagram. Right. And we can talk about what all that means, but when we talk about a hexagram is kind of like, if you're looking at it from a Gene Keys or a human design standpoint, each gate is its own hexagram. So there's 6 lines in each hexagram. So I'm the 1 line, Hannah's the 6th line, and that's oversimplifying it. But that's what we're rooted in. I'm rooted in a foundation, and Hannah's rooted in the role model and helping us understand what's next. And I appreciate you calling out that I tend to bring a focus to the crunchiness of things, because oftentimes what I've found in my own experience is, because I've been guilty of the rosy and the flowy and the, yes, let's just get to a point where everything feels good and easy, and especially from building a business, because it's like,
Right.
Good God, anybody who's trying to build a business, it's like, yes, can I have something that just feels a little bit more in flow than kind of what I've been up against? But that's not real life, right? We live in the real world. And as we get into the details of everything Gene Keys and human design, we'll talk a lot about quote unquote not self, and this idea of who you think you need to be in order to be successful. Well, right, wrong, or indifferent, most of the world energetically is a not self. So we're living in this bubble of most humans living against who they actually are. And so we experience that. And so we experience more stress, more resistance, more struggle, more confusion, more crises than we would if we were all living as correctly as we are. However, that's not to say that crisis and struggle and stress and resistance and confusion don't exist, because they do. And it's written in the energy of the universe.
Right. Exactly. And it's one of the ways that I like to put it is that what we tend to do, especially when we are taking advice from others who have a completely different design and we don't know that, right? Like, all the coaches that are saying, just do this XYZ way and you'll get XYZ results. This is how I did it, so this is what works. Like, what you're doing when you take on all of that, that should energy, oh, this worked for them, so it should work for me, or I'm going to try all of that, right? And then we beat ourselves up about it. We're trying to swim upstream. We're trying to swim up the river. And the energetic shift is, hey, what if we go with the river? Mm-hmm. What if we learn what your energetic flow is and we move with it rather than constantly fighting against it? Mm-hmm. And that, again, that doesn't mean you won't, there'll be times where the river's like slow and windy. There'll be times when you're hitting white water, right? But if you're going with the river, it's going to be more manageable. Mm-hmm. And eventually you learn how to get into a raft and maybe have a little bit of fun. Mm-hmm. Not me. I don't really want to do whitewater rafting. But
No.
But some people like that.
Yeah. But that's a great analogy, because even when you're with the river, right? I mean, most of the time, that's the whole point of whitewater rafting, right? You're going with the flow. But that flow can be very different at very different points of the river. And there will be times when it's, oh, to your point, I'm just floating along and things seem great. And then there's like, oh crap, let's make sure our life jackets are on. Let's make sure everybody's holding an oar. We've got the skills to get through it, but that's what you and I are really trying to, that's the message we're bringing, is that it's going to get choppy and it's going to get rough, and that is okay. So long as you are armed properly with the skills, knowledge, energy, strategies that will support you in getting you through that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And what was coming up for me as you were just saying that is it's shifting, truly, like I think the biggest shift inside for people is shifting from that victim mindset of everything is happening to me, right? Just life is just coming at me. I don't have any choice in any of this matter. One of the greatest gifts that I think anyone can take from human design is to understand your access to choice.
Yes.
In the midst, right? If something is feeling, we're both generators, so we both have the themes of satisfaction and frustration. When frustration is present, and for me as a manifesting generator, a little anger thrown in there too, right? If frustration is present, then that's a sign, that's a signal, that's a big waving orange flag, like, hey, let's look, because you have a choice. Frustration is present in the field. You get to choose how you respond to it. And there are so many ways. I truly, and I have done a lot of healing in a lot of different ways, through over the last many years, right? Like I don't believe that human design and gene keys are a magic bullet by themselves either. Inner child healing has been really, like, absolutely crucial for me. Healing in relationship, healing, somatic healing, breath work, plant medicine. Like, there have been a lot of different iterations and ways that I have, been through this journey of healing and self-discovery.
Yes.
Is what it'll boil down to for me. And noticing how much, like, when I go through my process and when I heal my heart and I allow myself to be whole and full of love, that then creates space for me to then let someone else be fully who they are and fully themselves and with no preconditions. I think that's actually an important word in my chart, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Coming to meet with no preconditions.
Yep.
That's a lesson. That was a big lesson for me to learn. But it really has been a lot of this together, and yet focusing on the human design and the gene keys, and then the financial healing, right, too, as that relates to X squared and my deep work in this world. Like, these are entry points. These are really, like, tangible, actionable entry points into self-discovery.
The thing you talk about is that neither gene keys nor human design being the silver bullet is really important, because I'm guilty of this myself, is that, when I happened upon it, it was like, oh, this could provide me all the answers I've ever been looking for. And I was like, yes and no, in some ways, right? What I love about human design and gene keys, regardless of your entry point, because they both play off one another, they're both really important. You kind of can't have one without the other. They both play off of one another. They amplify one another. And it's just this, the big is the why. Like, both gene keys and human design give the context for why in the literal heck am I experiencing this energy right now? Like, why is this a theme in my life? Why does this keep coming up? And they just give, to your point, entry points to the why. And the greatest thing is what I love about it, and I think this is more of the generator inside of me, is I get to figure out what it really means for myself. However, I didn't get there by myself. Yes, I get to figure out what it means for me, but that doesn't mean I haven't had, I was going to try to do a calculation, countless partners down the road of, but consider that this energetic context means this, right? Or think about this energy in this different way. And then you start to see how your energy is, how it shows up in the world, how you show up in the world. And to your point, it's not the only modality. Neither of them are the only modalities. There's inner child healing. But I think what was really important for me is that I can now understand the inner child, like where all of that came from.
Yeah. The conditioning, that condition of the child.
Yes. And that I can, because I'm going to go a little off topic here for a hot second, but this is my, critical opinions coming through, and we'll talk about what that means later too, it feels like there's a lot of energy of, I'm an old millennial, I'm an elder millennial, my parents were boomers. And there's a lot of this, like, my parents did this to me kind of energy.
Yeah.
Coming through a lot. So yes, your parents, our parents, anybody's parents, quote unquote, did something to you, but out of lack of awareness.
Right.
And then your lack of awareness as a child, because you didn't have it, why would you? You're 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 until 18 years old. Your lack of awareness of how you're receiving energy from other people. That's the crux, is that our parents didn't know any better because no one taught them this kind of information. And we didn't know any better because we didn't have this information. And one of the greatest aha moments for me in my own healing journey too was, do I wish they would have known different information? Do I wish I would have known different information because I could have responded to their parenting, i.e. conditioning, differently? Yeah, sure.
Of course, yeah.
But now I get to start from this moment, this day forward, right? And say, okay, well, I don't know how to say, I'm going to say this. I'm a victim of the circumstance, but I'm not a victim of my life.
Right.
And I get to choose, oh yeah, I see the conditioning. Oh, I still see the conditioning. Oh, I still see the parenting that leads to my conditioning. Okay, well, I'm going to be different about it this time. Or I don't have to let it affect me as much this time. And that's just one example, to your point, that is in relationships, whether that's romantic relationships, business partnerships, friendships. And when you start to understand how who you are, and knowing that you're always influenced by everyone around you, you're influenced just by the world around you. That's what Gene Keys and Human Design provides you, is this is who you are. Here's how you can maneuver through life, knowing you will always be influenced by energy around you, but you can make different choices as to what that actually means and what results that leads you to get, because you're interacting differently with the world.
Yeah. And that's, knowing you as well as I know you.
Yeah.
And gosh, when I go back, it was end of 2021 when we met. Right. And to see, right. Like, and this is true for a lot of people, that the inner child healing journey can be tough. There is, right. Like it takes a while sometimes to find the entry point to to start to heal those parts of ourselves and allow for healing. And yeah, like that, I would say it was within the last year and a half or so, where it was like, when you started to really see, like, this is my mom, this is my dad, these are my sisters, like, holy crap, this is the energy that was in the house and we had no idea. And suddenly what happens, it's like, we all do this, we all put a shell of protection around ourselves.
Mhm.
We all have armor. I mean, that's the conditioning. We build up armor because it freaking hurts.
Mhm.
It hurts to be judged. It hurts to be misunderstood. It hurts to be scared, right? So we build up armor around all of it, and it's very hard. It's hard to get through. And so as an adult now, you know, both in our 40s, we both started this in our 30s, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
been, you know, late 30s. We both were like human design, like, here we go. But that was the point at which seeing the dynamics that we didn't have access to as children when we built those walls and built that armor. When you can see it from a new lens, it allows you to soften.
Mhm.
That's the thing that happens, is we literally soften. We soften our hearts. We take off the armor.
Mhm.
And that it's like that wound has been under there, just like festering for decades, and we've been protecting it. And when you get to take off the armor and let it breathe and let it soften, that's part of what's happening, is we get to say, oh, yeah, look at that. I didn't know that about my mom. And I see how, you know, how this, like, the ahas are some of the most special things that I have when I have coached others, and we have looked, you know, sometimes we'll pull a parent's chart.
Mhm.
Usually it's with spouses or business partners or children, right? Because that's where people focus first. But then every once in a while, I'm like, hey, what about, you know, there's clearly a mother wound here, or father
Mhm.
wound that's like really, really present.
Mhm.
And then when we can look at that chart without judgment and be like, oh, you're very different.
Mhm.
You're very different from your parent, and they didn't know how to deal with that.
Mhm. Yeah. And I will say, again, from the crunchiness of it, it's kind of okay to have judgment at the very beginning, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, as you're working through that wound, you're like, oh, now I see it. Now I see where it comes from. And then as you start to interact with yourself, you're like, oh, well, I also get the opportunity to respond to it differently. Or in some cases, not respond to it at all.
Yeah. Put up a boundary.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the beauty part of it, is that it's like, because a lot of these things, a lot of what we uncover, particularly as entrepreneurs, as you're going through this process, you can see sometimes those same patterns, whether they started with your family or whether they started, I don't know, with a teacher or a sports coach or athletic coach or some influential adult person in your life, moving, you know, having grown up. You can start to see it in your own business patterns.
Yep.
And that becomes the gift of softening and taking off the armor. And you know, to be very clear, is you know, I don't want people to be like, oh, I softened. It's not becoming weaker.
No.
It's that you're to Hannah's point, you're taking off the armor. You're actually relieving yourself of weight
Mm-hmm.
that, one, you probably didn't know existed. Although I think some of us can intuitively know that we're carrying around more shit than we think we are. We just
Oh,
don't know.
yeah.
We just don't know what to do with it.
You just don't know how to put it down. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like, no, I'm just going to keep carrying it with me because I don't know what else to do. No one's ever taught me how to put it down, so let me just keep piling. Let me get a bigger bag so I can carry more. But that, I think that's really the aha moment, is that a lot of times, particularly in the United States, of like, business is just results. It's growth. It's success. It's beating the other guy or gal or whatever. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, competition exists, but we can talk about why that exists later too. But really, when you're building a business, when you can get into the flow of building a business the way that you are designed, as anybody out there who knows anything about human design, even if you don't, the quote, I never like to call him the founder. He didn't find it. It found him. Ra says, the moment that you are acting correctly, the moment that you are in your own frequency, that's when the check is in the mail. Meaning that's when success and abundance comes to you, but it may not necessarily be in the way that you ever thought.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be as much as you had hoped it would be. Maybe it's more than you hoped it would be. But the idea being that what you receive when you act or live correctly is what the universe has intended for you. You will live in abundance because it's yours.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's correct. It's correct for you and correct for the energy that you're here to steward.
Yes.
When we look, and this is a great topic for later too, even on our Pearl sphere and the gene keys, like the line 1 in the Pearl sphere, which is the conscious Jupiter placement in your chart, the line 1 sphere of that, if you have a, say, 39.1 or a 5.1, if you're a 0.1 on your conscious Jupiter, that is a line of simplicity. It literally is like money flows so that you can have what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And like one of the main keynotes of that line is like, get the clutter out of your life. Like, get rid of your clutter, literally physical clutter, but also that mental and emotional clutter.
Mm-hmm.
Line 1s are here for simplicity. Doesn't mean that they couldn't necessarily, create a 7 or 8 figure business or whatever,
Right.
but they're not here to, again, and this is what we don't want to say all the time to everyone who's like, no, I have to make $1 million every year, right? Like, you're not here for that necessarily.
Yeah.
You're here to, and not cover your needs in a scarce way.
Right.
Cover your, you have everything you need and everything is here for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's true. And it's when you get rid of all the clutter. What is weighing you down energetically, financially, physically, all of the things? Get rid of it. And then what do you actually need?
Mm-hmm.
Because abundance could be an abundance of time, an abundance of energy. Like, you get rid of the clutter and now you have an abundance of energy to do the things that matter to you with the people that matter to you. Right? It's so much bigger. I happen to be a 6th line on my Pearl sphere also, which again, so many, which doesn't mean necessarily that I'm here to have millions and billions of dollars just because I'm a 6th line. It means I'm here to see what comes next. I'm here to understand that actually, it's actually much closer, because the 6th line, every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that 6th line is always pointing to the next 1 line of the next hexagram. Mm-hmm. So I'm always like, all right, well, this is what it is now, but the system is going to change.
Yep.
And it's actually, the 5th lines are actually the ones that are here, the line of management.
Yeah.
Right? You are here to be a very wise steward of large amounts of resources. Yep. And so on and so forth. So it's like, we are here to have a certain experience and to allow everyone else to have their experience.
Yes. This goes into, again, this is a more advanced topic when it comes to human design, but your life's purpose, right? And human design will give insight into the contribution you are here to make as part of this existence. And mine has to deal with hierarchies. And I remember being like, oh God, what am I supposed to, everybody has their place, right? Everybody has their place inside the hierarchy. And in the 5th line of the 17th gate is, there is no end to hierarchies. And it took me a while to really understand, that's really just translated to our own frequencies. We all have our own frequencies. And again, being a 1 line, someone may interpret that as being at the low end of the totem pole. And I was like, no, wait a minute. Whoa. I'm holding up that totem pole. I am a one line.
Right.
I am here. Like, just stand on me. I'm good. I'll build the foundation. Everybody else just build on top of this. And, and you and I have had this conversation offline. It's just because you're a sixth line doesn't make a sixth line any higher than a one line. It simply means we have different contributions to make to this world, and that we all fit inside some hierarchy related to the different positions we have in our lives. So like, I may be a one line, but hey, I may have a high hierarchy in the world of business and entrepreneurship, right? I'm a one line. Some may make the argument I have a quote unquote lower hierarchy in my family. I'm the youngest of three daughters, right? I just naturally have this kind of like, just kind of where you are in your family, but that doesn't mean that position cannot change. It's just being open and accepting of, hey, I have a very, very specific contribution to make in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And by God, I'm not going to waste my life trying to fill someone else's contribution.
Oh, that's the whole point, truly. And again, like I have a lot of sixth line energy in my chart, like eight of the 26, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And then quite a few two lines along with that. And then three, oh God. Yeah. So I'm just like, there's a lot of sixth line, a lot of visionary energy. But I mean, if you let me, I mostly want to be up in the visionary clouds.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm happy. Let's just talk philosophy and theory and like what's possible. I love that. And it's so natural to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important, right? Like that frequency that I hold is important, but it needs the grounding. It needs that, like, so even in our partnership, right? Like that your 1-3 groundedness helps my sixth line, 6-2, I'm a 6-2 profile, my sixth line, and then the 2 line that's just the natural, that just, like, I don't know how I do what I do half the time. Like, I'm just doing it. You're here picking it apart, going like, oh, it's because of this and that and 7 other things, right? Like helping me understand the foundations of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And bring that into recognition of the gift that's within it. And so again, like neither one is better than the other. It's like not hierarchy in the sense of worth or value. Yeah. It's literally in the sense of what's the job that this energy is here to do or be, not even, we use a lot of do language as generators, I think, because we're generators.
Yes.
And it's like, let's go, let's do.
Let's use this energy somehow.
Right? Like we got to do stuff. But for our projectors and our reflectors and our manifestors, it's a different, right? There are different energy blueprints that you are here to work with. And what I think is really special. So I'm going to share a little bit of our story.
Yeah, go.
And then we'll talk about what comes next. But so Lauren and I met end of 2021. I had just started X Squared in January of 2021 and was networking and, figuring stuff out. And I met a woman who was like, oh, well, you're in the same city as, these awesome women. You need to meet Lauren. So we met at a coffee shop in person. Mm-hmm. It was the first thing. We didn't meet. I don't think we met on Zoom first. I think we met.
I think we met. I was going to say something. I won't say that. We met in person.
And so, yeah. And just from there, it was like, oh, we are supposed to know each other. I had been like in a deep rabbit hole of human design for like 6 months at that point. And when I dive in something, I just fall like head first. I couldn't. And so I was like, hey, what if I had learned about connection charts and I was obsessed. So I was like, hey, what if I pull our connection chart and see what that looks like? And here, I'm gonna share it on the screen. Because oh no, hold on. It wants to do, let's test some things. We're gonna
let's.
You see me?
Yes, I see you.
Okay. Lauren, do you see our connection chart?
No.
Oh, shoot. We're using Riverside. We're new to Riverside. So
we're experimenting. We're using my 3-line experimentation right here.
It's not experimenting well yet. We will put it in somewhere else. But our connection chart, we're going to get rid of that. Our connection chart, we have how many electromagnetic?
I think it's 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 channels that complete one another. So I have one half and Lauren has the other half. We have so much energy that connects. Mm-hmm. And at that time we were starting the networking group that we were a part of. Yeah. We decided to start another group because there was already a financial advisor in the first group and they wanted to expand and grow and blah, 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 whatever. And so we're like, oh, well, let's do that. So I was the president of that group. Lauren was the vice president of that group. And it was always just so easy. It was just easy. And the other thing that was so funny was that, like, I remember you being so intrigued by the connection chart. You're like, ooh, what is this? And then like your own chart, but you were like, I'm focusing on this other thing right now. Right. I'm focusing on building this side of my coaching business. And so I'm not going to look at that. Like, you put the brakes on for at least a year and a half. Yeah. And you were like, I really want to dive into that, but I can't, because I'm going to just, you felt it, that once you opened the floodgates, there was no turning back.
Nope.
And then I think it was the conference we were at the conference together and we pulled your boys' charts. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that was probably like the turning point.
Yes.
Because now you're doing a whole freaking certification. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So, and you summarized that really well. And yes, I think there was this instinct of knowing that, oh dear God, if I go down this rabbit hole, no one's ever going to get me back out. Because that is the thing about human design and Gene Keys. I think there's parts of us we know to be so true for us, but it's because conditioning has been so loud that we ignore or feel as if whatever is so true to us isn't enough. It doesn't work, whatever the case may be. But yes, it was the pulling of my younger son, and he has the channel of struggle. And that was the turning point for me. And I was like, and we're in. And I want to say I paid for a few different summary chart, kind of like readouts, and that intrigued me. And then without knowing really what my 1-3 really meant, and I would go kind of investigating around the internet of certain sources and certain people. And I was like, no. I need the actual source. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it in my mind correctly. And but again, please understand that comes from my 1-3 profile, without really understanding what that meant at the time. And it was when I found the International Human Design School, was a school created by Ra, who discovered human design, or human design was channeled through him. I was like, oh, this is where it is. And so I got into some of their introductory classes that it was more about just who you are, like understanding your own design. And then the deeper that I got into those, I was like, oh, well, I need to know how this all really connects. And I really want to support other people in understanding this information. Again, as a generator, we're the ones here who need, like, we desperately have this energy to know ourselves. And so it was kind of like, oh, I also have a lot of logical energy, which we talk about. I love to share. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to share. I'm going to share this with everybody. I'm going to share it with anybody who will listen to me. Although if you know me, I kind of don't live that way, but although I kind of do.
You're a bundle of contradictions.
Well, aren't we all? That's the greatest thing about, to bring this all together. I think that truly is the greatest thing about human design and Gene Keys is it shows you that yes, you are a walking contradiction.
And it's great.
Is okay. That is okay. There are going to be moments where, if you look at your profile and your profile in human design or Gene Keys is really, really important. It takes a really long time to truly understand. But most profiles are at contradictions with one another. Mm-hmm. They are, I won't say competing energies. They are just dissonant energies. They're energies that don't harmonize or come together very easily. And it's really important to understand that's where the crunchiness of your design really comes into play. So for example, and when you were talking before about kind of your sequence and talking about the different lines, in the human design, and this translates into Gene Keys, line 3, when you're talking about your I always forget the word I'm looking for, but like how you nurture and how you interact with people or take care of those around you. The third line, the line is greed. It's greed. And I think it's gate 27. I think gate 27, line 3 is greed. And a lot of people will not talk about that because no one wants to hear the word, oh, as a 3 line, I'm greedy.
Right.
But this is where it really helps to partner with people who have done this. The nurturing part of greed is, yes, I want more than I need so that I can take care of other people.
Right.
It's not about I'm keeping it for myself. It's how you nurture other people. No. I'm going to take more than I need so that I can give it away.
Right.
And that's like the beauty of when you learn your human design or you learn your Gene Keys, be open to different interpretations of what the words actually mean or what you have trained yourself to believe those words really mean.
Yes, it's all about frequency. Truly, there is no negative.
No.
It's just the frequency at which you choose to see all of that. So the greed is such a good example of that. Struggle is another one that's in there, right? I mean, oh my gosh, there's so many. And I'm so excited that we get to like dive in and have these conversations.
Yes.
So let's give everyone a little bit of a, not necessarily a preview, but I mean, because again, you could go back and search. There are at least 5 or 6 episodes where we're talking about stuff together already. Yeah. And yet we are going to build on that foundation. And we really want this to be a collaborative space. Again, we're both generators. We're both here to respond. Mm-hmm. So questions.
Yes.
Send us your questions. You can send questions to Hannah at Expansive CEO or Lauren at Expansive CEO or support at Expansive CEO. And we would love to address your questions. We also plan to have guests on and literally give them a read down of their chart. Like do as live a reading as can be. So if you hear that and you're like, oh my gosh, I need you to do that, send us an email. Mm-hmm. We will put people on in the order that they come in of if you would love to have, one of those slots for us to give you a reading of what's coming up and what's, I think we both do this pretty regularly, intuitively. tell me what's coming up in your life.
Mhm.
And let's see like what part of the chart is like just like pulsing.
Mhm.
Like, oh, it's this. We need to look here.
Mhm.
So not like a formal reading of like we're going to give you like the full thing of your chart, but a live experience. So I'm super
Yeah.
excited about that. What else?
Yeah.
What else are we doing?
Oh my gosh. So, we're going to bring our own lens to each of the situations too, is like diving into some details when it comes kind of like teaching moments or what's Hannah, help me here.
Education.
Yeah, education. Thank you. Educational moments of, from a human design standpoint, but also a gene keys, like how they're different, but how they actual play off of one another, and how Hannah and I play off of one another of, when someone comes to us, because what's also different about our, not only what we were doing separately, but what we do together, is that we really want your real life experiences. Like, what is it that you are either struggling with right now or doing well with right now? And you just want kind of some context as to what that means and how it's playing out in your life. Hannah and I bring both sides of the education on that. And so really talking through and giving context to some of the things that often go missed or sometimes ignored. I'll be as bold to say as ignored in sort of this kind of coaching, simply because it is just a lot of detail, and some of it gets missed.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
and it's certainly one of the things too that I love about both human design and gene keys is that, I mean, I could read, you mentioned gate 27, so that one's what's coming up in my head. I could see that in someone's chart in all kinds of different places, and then someone else has it in another placement, and I might have it in a different placement. And every time I read it, I there's something new.
yep.
There's a different nuance because of its placement, because of the line designation, because of other factors, because I'm different that day.
Mm-hmm.
Like something else jumps out at me and I'm like, oh my gosh, right? It's like it's so special.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like these like words on a page are like, it's like they're alive
Mm-hmm.
because your interpretation of them are always going to be different based on where you're at, also who you're talking to, what the rest of their experience is. It's all everything exists within a context.
Mm-hmm.
And if we take everything snippets out of context, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Yes. And that's the thing, is that yes, we can pinpoint very specific things within your energy, but then we always have to bring it back out to the fuller context. And if there's something that's really, in the world of human design, we always talk about gnarly. There was always something gnarly in your chart that you're like, oh, I wish that wasn't how I was. To be
Yeah.
like, no. Guarantee there are different aspects within your chart that offset this thing that you wish didn't exist inside of you, because we all have it. We
Oh, yeah.
all have things, and there is not a single person who goes down the human design or gene keys path that doesn't have this, oh God, I wish this wasn't a part of who I was moment. But that's the beauty of the experimentation, is that you have to keep playing. I mean, quite honestly, you have to keep playing with your own energy to really understand what that means for you. And sometimes some of the most gnarliest language in your chart can be the biggest lessons or beautiful moments that you experience. And you're like, oh, because one of the things is that everything related to human design or gene keys is frequency related. So what you're reading or what you're experiencing or what we're teaching you are two sides of a frequency, right? There's just this one side of a frequency, and then there's the opposite side of the, I don't want to say opposite, but the other side of the frequency. And depending on how your energy exists, you may experience one more than the other. Nothing about it is wrong. Just think about different of a lower frequency or a higher frequency. But again, lower doesn't mean bad and higher doesn't mean good.
Right. It's like a piano, literally. Yes. Like a C is a C is a C, but if it's down at the bass or up at the soprano range, right? Like it's literally frequency.
Yes. Well, this is where your musical background will come in
It's so
beautifully.
all of my, oh my God, we are going to talk about my manifesting generatorness and how hilarious it is. And Lauren coming in to clean up all of the, what are all the things that you've done that make sense after you skipped around all over the place? Yeah. We all, again, we all need each other.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. We are making some substantial updates to the Expansive CEO website and offerings. And those things are available right now. So know that it's under construction, and in, again, true manifesting generatorness for me, we just put it out there. Right. And we are going to iterate as we go, make sure everything works, make sure all the links work. I'm very good at making things that work as a first draft. And then, right. And then you put it out there, like, don't wait till it's perfect. Like, get it up there so people can interact. So the website is there. You can, now I didn't have this before, because Lauren wasn't here beside me yet, but now we can do a full introductory reading. We can do full partnership sessions. You can do an advanced reading if you have a knowledge of human design, but want to like go deeper. I mean, you guys, Lauren, your brain is amazing. Like, it truly is.
Thank you.
She's so good. She's so good. Like, I can't even tell you. So we've got the advanced reading on there. We've got the introductory reading for human design. We've got the partnership sessions, business partners, romantic partners, like child and parent, any sort of partnership that you are curious about. And then we have package sessions too, where you can do 4 or 8 sessions, and we can do a combination of human design and gene keys in there. So I'm just, it feels so good to be able to like have this more robust ecosystem to support people, and for us to be, again, combining energies and bringing this, like, I feel like we have such a well-rounded offer here.
Oh, absolutely. Again, it's the foundation and the what's next. And I think that's what you and I really bring to the table is like, we'll help you set a foundation on one side, and then we'll help you see what's next after you've played around on that one for a little bit and you want to keep going.
Yeah. And there's also the Expansive CEO courses. We're going to really bring that back into the fold too, as far as the, discover, align, and expand framework that has been central to Expansive CEO for the last several years. Because it all fits. And human design was part of that from the beginning as well. So what are the financial aspects of that? How do you build a business that's in alignment with who you are? How do you build offers that are in alignment with who you are, to use your energy in the way that feels good? And we can talk about a lot of that. We've both done that.
Yes.
A lot of experimentation around that as well. So much
experimentation.
Right. So this episode actually went longer than what we will probably go. But it feels really good to just introduce everything and get to dive in.
Yes. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be officially partnering with you. Because we've been partnering, just, we didn't necessarily put the stamp on it. But this feels really good. And I'm so excited to support the audience and just get to know them. Because, and what we talk a lot about this, we ask that you allow us to peek behind the curtains, your energetic curtains. We're open to allowing you to peek behind ours too. And that'll come through with our stories and our experiences and vulnerabilities, because, that's who we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I forget sometimes how much I share on the podcast. So people, I don't know.
Oh yeah. Get ready for LA to share all her things,
It's all good. It's everything. I've set the intention before almost every podcast that everything we say is meant to be said, is what our audience needs to hear. And it's what's going to help you in, let it be whatever will help you most next in your transformation. So sharing vulnerably, sharing what's real is a part of that. And so,
yes.
Lauren, yay. I'm so excited. I'm so
Me
excited.
too.
I don't have to say goodbye. I don't have to say we should do this again because we're going to keep doing it and we're just going to go. We're on the ride. Love it.
Exactly.
Thank you, friend. And tune in. Remember, these will be separate. If you are following Expansive CEO already, you will keep getting Expansive CEO. It's not moving. You can go subscribe on YouTube. We will have extra content that goes there as well. You can subscribe to our Substack. Lauren is getting that ready. So much, guys. There's so much. We'll have its own Instagram page, all the things. And if you love Investment Friday, go check that out as well. It will have its own stream starting in February 2026.
Yay.
Yay. Bye, everyone. See you again soon.
Bye, friends.